Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We are here today in a match on Trap. Look at that, I knew the name of the map without looking at the scoreboard. We're here on Trap and we are in the Ognevoi. Now, I do love Russian destroyers, but I have to admit, I haven't been playing my tier 6 Russian premiums that much. I think the Leningrad has been severely power crept, especially when they buffed the Minsk and the Ognevoi. I think the Leningrad kind of got hosed. It also took a hit way back when in the concealment nerf, and so I don't think the Leningrad is quite as effective as it used to be. It is now, in my opinion, the kind of ship where you can kill one other destroyer and then you will probably be dead in a gunfight shortly thereafter. Anyway, we're not talking about the Leningrad, we're talking about the Ognevoi. So let's talk about the Ognevoi. That's another destroyer I had problems with. If you watch my original Ognevoi video, I had a huge aiming bug issue with this ship, at least in the game where I was using it. And I was running the stock torpedoes back then. I decided to try running the 2x5 torpedoes, the optional torpedoes. Now, originally my train of thought was, you know, you're in a match with 9 enemy ships. You want to be cranking out torpedoes as quickly as you can. The 2x3s do that. Do I really need all 5 torpedoes to kill an enemy ship? Maybe not. But then I was like, yeah, let's just try it, because if it's not working for you in the one configuration, there's certainly no harm in putting on the optional 2x5 launcher. So we did that. So I did not like the lack of support I was getting over at the Alpha Cap. My teammate, the other destroyer, just didn't want to go into the cap. And so if he's doesn't want to go into the cap, I'm not going to go into the cap. And I'm trying to get this destroyer to help me out. And he is also not interested in going in the cap. And this is just the new meta you have to deal with out in the game here, where your teammates aren't willing to help you capture an objective half of the time. And look at our blue team destroyers. No one, including me, is going into the cap. And I'm not going into the cap because I don't want to die by myself. And I know that's what will happen if I don't pick and choose my battles here, based on what you can see out there. You know, the entire blue team immediately retreated from all 3 cap circles. And the goal of this match, the domination match, is to capture the cap circles. And the enemy is capturing Alpha and Charlie, already captured Bravo. And the blue team just turned around and ran away. You know, I ran away. Discretion is the better part of valor, but I was certainly willing to go into the cap circles. I'm just no longer willing to go into them by myself, because I do that and I get killed by myself, and I look up at the minimap and the entire blue team is back at the edge of the map. Happens all the time now. It's really, really disappointing. And I don't know if that's new players or if it's just the people that don't understand how to play the game have made everyone else so cautious they're unwilling to take risks. All right, so here we're just trolling, and I see an opportunity to kill pinch this Mahan. And so that will make me go into a cap circle, you bet. And so even though we're starting to get it on target, the Mahan dies. But at this point, I'm pretty much already committed to coming over here. So we see this California, and we will do the first launch of the 2x5s, and we'll put all of them out there. Now there's another destroyer, T-61. But without help, I don't see anybody. Well, there's one person shooting at him, but they're far away. So I'm just going to hold off, you know. Here's another destroyer, came up here and ran into me. Whatever. I'm headed towards the Bravo cap at this point. But it's really disappointing where we're at in the state of this game, where you cannot really count on the people on your team to do anything regarding the objective at all. All right, here you can see torpedo strikes piling up on the California. Looks like 4 torpedo strikes And then there's a additional torpedo strike, probably on another ship. We'll take a look here. Looks like we got the Arizona with 1 torpedo and got the California with 4 torpedoes. However, no one is flooding at the moment. And we entered the Bravo cap alone, although there's a ship right behind us. We do put up a smoke screen because there's a fighter or an aircraft carrier plane above us. And we do set the California on fire. Enemy ship here in the cap with us. And I would really love some help. We set him on fire. He is getting shot at by somebody else and we run into an island. Hate to say it, that was not intentional, but you know, it is what it is. We're inadvertently dodging HE bombs, I guess. It's continuing to shoot at the Moss and set them on fire again. And I like these guns. They don't have the greatest rate of fire. I think you could use a bump in the rate of fire, but they are relatively accurate, and I've at least had a pretty good chance with setting fires. Now, I'm not using one of the regular commanders. I'm using the commander I refer to as Sergio Artificial Sweetener, who's apparently Russian with the first name of Sergio. I don't know why they wouldn't call him just Sergey. I don't know. These kind of things bother me when I play this game. We're using Sergio Artificial Sweetener. His base trait increases the turret traverse, and so the Russian destroyers definitely need that. So that's who I'm using as my commander. If I wasn't using him, I would be using Anton Gurin if I didn't have Sergio Artificial Sweetener. Alright, so we are dodging the carriers plane still. We are coming around the mountain here, the island, and we are looking to engage the Moss. Meanwhile, up on the scoreboard, we are tied 4 kills to 4 kills, dodging torpedoes, blind, amazing. And look at all the destroyers. This match started with 5 destroyers on each team. Good grief. Tons of destroyers. Do they need to cap the number of destroyers in a match? You tell me. Alright, more inadvertent dodging of the carrier plane's torpedoes. Quite frankly, I just can't be bothered to see where they are anymore. Alright, here's the Moss. Back up. We are all alone now. 1v1. Hit him with those guns. And easily dodge his torpedoes. And that last salvo finishes him off for our first kill. And we gave our team the lead. And I had help and I appreciated it. There's T-61. And I know you're thinking, KPZ, I know that you know what you're doing here. And after you capture Bravo, you're going to try to capture Charlie to help your team. And the answer is no. Because there are only 2 ships left. There are only 2 ships left. And in order to make this video worth watching, we have to do something spectacular. So we're going to do something spectacular. Yep, we're going to capture out this base, which is also known as doing our job. And then we're going to go put these 2x5 torpedo launchers to work in the Ognevoi. And somehow, without ever trying to capture the cap circles until the very end, our team is now in the lead. So I guess this new strategy of letting the enemy capture the cap circles and not going into them at all until about halfway through the match, I guess it works. I guess I should stop complaining. I retract my prior complaints. Not really. We just got lucky because the red team was all potatoes, and if they had been good players, our team would have been utterly crushed in this match because of laying back and letting the enemy do whatever they want. Alright, there's a prime target, the enemy Ranger, since we're top tier. All I really need to do is get 1 rack of 5 torpedoes out on the Ranger. I probably couldn't have said that if I was using the 2x3 torpedoes. Alright, so we're going to launch one rack at the Ranger, and then we're coming up on a speed boost reload. You know what I'm going to do, folks. I'm going to hit that speed boost. We're all alone out here, just us and the Ranger. And I am going to do a torp run on the Ranger in the Ognevoi. There's the speed boost recharge. We hit it. We're going full speed ahead. Just keep an eye on his movement. This one red team ship is putting up a fight. But we are going to do one thing in this match, and that is take out the hated aircraft carrier. Now, it's pretty good driving here. He wasn't just on autopilot. He does manage to dodge this first set of torpedoes, but he is too close now to dodge the second set of torpedoes. I do not care about his secondary guns. We will launch right at the beginning of the ship, and in doing so, devastating strike, kill number 2, high caliber metal, and we shoot down his airplane. And actually the Ognevoi kind of, I'm not going to say it blew me away, but I was kind of pleasantly surprised that the AA was as good as it is. So Ognevoi AA, good enough to defend itself, in my opinion. Alright, so we're going around here, we're shooting down the last of the spotter planes, and I know what you're thinking. Charlie Cap still out there to get. Let's go get the Charlie Cap. And I see the other destroyer is over there, and so I don't know what this is called, but I want to encourage the destroyer to capture the enemy cap circle, so I am not going to capture the enemy cap circle. So maybe by being rewarded, the destroyer will understand that capping enemy cap circle good, and instead I'm going to try to go hunt down the Arizona. Well, I have literally no chance of doing that. My speed boost is running out. The ship organically is not that fast. The Arizona is probably 16 kilometers away. And I thought, well, maybe not that far away. I thought, hey, he's going to come into Bravo, and I'll just come over here and turn and torp at him, and he'll run right into the torps, and that'll be the end of the match. But coming into the Bravo cap right now, I believe is a Scharnhorst B. And so once that happens, I'm like, yeah, he ain't coming in here, because the Arizona is not that dumb. He survived this long. He is not going to go head to head with a Scharnhorst B. So we just have to alter our scenario, our plan. So while we're doing that, let's talk about the Ognevoi. Who should buy the Ognevoi? Well, if you really like Russian destroyers or Russian ships in general and you need a tier 6 premium destroyer, I do recommend the Ognevoi over the Leningrad. And the Leningrad at one point was my very favorite ship in World of Warships Legends. However, I think the Ognevoi has been, or the Leningrad has been hit with the double whammy. Concealment was nerfed, and all the other tech tree ships were buffed. And so I don't think the Leningrad is as strong as it used to be. And in that kind of case, I default to a torpedo ship simply because you can't always win a gunfight, but torpedoes can always sink an enemy ship. So I would recommend the Ognevoi over the Leningrad. I would also recommend the Ognevoi if you want something a little bit different. Is it a pure torpedo boat like the Japanese boats? No. Is it a general destroyer? I don't think the guns are strong enough. They don't reload fast enough. You would probably lose a battle to like the Oland in a straight gunfight. But I think it's a sea change. It's a different flavor than the original Russian destroyers. And so for that reason, I think it's a good destroyer to play around with. But I wouldn't go out of my way to get it unless you love destroyers and you love Russian ships. All right, so right about now, the Arizona is about to die. So I'm just wondering, how do you think we did in this match? You know, that's the other thing. Did we do a whole lot? We killed a couple of ships, and we solo capped a base. We ended up with a high caliber medal, devastating strike medal, 104,802 total damage. How many torpedo strikes is that? Looks like I can't read it. 8 or 9. We shot down 7 airplanes, 2 kills. The solo base cap, 622,701 silver, 11,279 ship XP, 2820 green XP, 19,335 commander XP. I'm kind of amazed that those numbers are as high as they are. And there we are at the top of the board. 2685 base XP, 2 medals, 2 big kills. So even though that match is kind of a pedestrian match, we still ended up with more than 2500 base XP. I think the Ognevoi is definitely a destroyer you should consider. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button.